Thank you for tuning in today. I'm the country counselor. Probably didn't have to tell you that, but I've spent several years in counseling with couples and individuals, dealt with a lot of different issues, a lot of different circumstances, and we just want to share some things with you that has been a benefit to some folks in the past. There are three main goals that I want to accomplish early on in this process. I want you to understand why you feel the way you feel about yourself, why you believe what you believe about yourself, and I want you to understand why you do what you do. And I think if you can, it can begin to make some major changes for you. Now, if you have negative beliefs about yourself, negative feelings about yourself. In other words, if you feel like you are not as good as everybody else, that you don't measure up, that everybody can do things better than you, and you feel a little unloved and just not important, there's two things that you're going to do if you feel that way. You are going to become addicted, and you're going to become obsessive, and you're going to become addicted to food, to alcohol, to drugs, prescription and non-prescription, to sex, to pornography. You're going to become obsessed over your looks. You're not going to be able to get out of the house till everything is just right. You'll be obsessed over social media, over sports, over getting more education, over video games, over your computer, and you'll become OCD, perfectionistic, critical, judgmental, controlling, excuse-making, irresponsible, and you will live with anxieties, worries, doubts, fears, phobias, and then you'll become depressed, you'll be on antidepressants, you'll develop tension headaches, nervous stomach, ulcers, hives, skin rashes, allergies, fibromyalgia, arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, and the list goes on. Now, I hope I've got your attention. What I want you to see is if you have these health issues going on in the body, you have these issues going on in the soul, in your emotions, and you have these addictions and obsessions, they are generated, they come out of your beliefs about yourself and your feelings that you have about yourself. Now, your beliefs and your feelings come out of your early experiences, mainly your childhood years, and it can be from later on. So that's where all this is generated. It's generated out of those early beliefs and early feelings about yourself. Now, I've got some great news for you. These experiences that you have should not identify who you are. They are just experiences. But we let those experiences develop into negative beliefs about ourselves and negative feelings about ourselves. And just because you have failed at something does not make you a failure. You know, I remember when my oldest son was trying to learn to ride a bicycle, and he had a difficult time with it, and he wanted to give up. And he was crying, and I said, no, we've got to stay with this. You can do this. I'm going to stay with you. And it wasn't long till he was, he learned to ride it, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. But if I had allowed him, not to try, he would have been sitting on the porch watching his younger brother ride his and the other kids in the neighborhood ride theirs, and he would feel like a total failure in that. So if you will stay with us through this process, again, we are going to look at what has programmed you, what has caused these negative feelings and negative beliefs about yourself, and then we can begin to redefine you in the sense that that you don't have to live with these continued wrong beliefs about yourself and wrong feelings about yourself. What I want you to know, and what I've told couples for years, that there is nothing wrong with you. So you're not born a mess. Okay? That is developed out of our experiences. Okay? So we don't have to change who you are, but we do need to change your thinking. And as we change your thinking, then your beliefs, because our emotions have a tendency to follow what our mind believes. I don't feel scared unless I first believe that I am in danger. Now, before we can get to the next session, I want you to understand something. I hope that you have watched our Essentials of Communication, because there were some things in there that I said early on in the first session, that what couples think is the problem is usually not the problem. What they think is the problem is usually a symptom of a deeper issue. And in the last DVD, we talked of three things. We talked about events, issues, and hidden issues. Now, the hidden issues is what fuels the arguments over daily events. Let me give you an example, because these are important. See, events is anything that might happen during the day. You might get a big electric bill and it starts an argument over where you're not turning the lights out, you're not conserving, and so forth. Or one of the kids has a bad report card, and that starts an argument that, well, you're not making them do their homework and you're letting them do other things. So those are events. And then we had the hidden, or the issues that couples deal with. And those are things like finances. That's the biggest one. Finances, communication, and sex are the three biggest issues that couples deal with, and there's several others. It can be how we're going to raise the kids. It can be issues over religion. It can be how we're going to deal with in-laws, and all sorts of things are the issues that couples deal with. But then we had the hidden issues. And again, the hidden issues is what fuels the flames of the issues and the events. And we talked about 6 things. We talked about power. That's a hidden issue. In other words, who's running the show, who's in control, who's making all the decisions here. Is your input important here? Or are major decisions being made without you? Then we had caring. Is your mate's love for you, are you secure in that? Or is it more on a conditional basis? As long as you're performing well and doing things right, then you feel loved. And then we had the commitment. You know, are you going to stay with me? Or are you committed to me? And then we had integrity, which is when your motives and intent is challenged. And then we had the acceptance issues. See, those are the deeper things that fuel the other. Now, I share that with you again because if we don't get to the root of things, we will talk about events and issues for many years, and that's why people have to continue to go to their psychiatrist and go through counseling and therapy, because they're never getting to the root. Because if you don't get to the root, you're going to be dealing with surface issues. So it's kind of like if you have a headache and you take an aspirin for your headache, but the root cause is a brain tumor. The brain tumor is the root here. The headache is a symptom. So it's the same in what we're going to try to go through here. We've got to get to the root, to the heart of the matter, and then we can begin to fix things. Okay? Then we can begin to fix things. And I've tried to counsel based on a principle that God told Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1:10. God told Jeremiah in 1:10, he said, Jeremiah, I want you to uproot, tear down, and destroy. Then I want you to plant and rebuild. And what I'm talking about here, we're going to have to uproot the past. We're going to have to tear down those strongholds, those lies that you've been told, that you have believed about yourself. And then after we do that, then we're going to plant and rebuild. And that's where I'm talking about is getting you reprogrammed and getting the truth into you. Again, you're not a mistake. God doesn't make junk. You are His handiwork. You are His special creation. But we've got to get that into your head first, and then we're going to get it into your heart. But if you'll stay with us through this process, I assure you that it can change your life. So till next time, God bless.